Welcome to another episode of the APL Spotlight Series. Incredible guests the world over, amazing insights, experiences, and they're here to share their high vibe with all of us and a lot more. Insights, wisdom, even practical steps to take daily. Today, we've got an incredible guest coming back with us. You'll see her again in the future in 2026 and beyond. She's wonderful. Heather Tesch, you'll know her from the Weather Channel, at least 13 years on their main desk. She's a meteorologist, first and foremost, like whether it's in Georgia, across the USA, Weather Channel, or elsewhere. But she's also intuitive, and she's got an incredible show, Beyond with Heather Tesch. I think it was 60,000 subscribers. It's probably 90,000 now. She'll correct me. Great channel. Go check her out. She talks about a lot of focus on the near-death experience, but other stuff as well. She'll have a lot of intuitive folks or near-death experiencers on. And she's just got a wonderful personality. She's super gentle and fun to have on. So, Heather, welcome back. Good to see you again.
Hello, it's so great to be here. Thank you, Michael.
Okay, what have you learned this year only that you're still either processing or allowing for, or you've got it down packed as one of those life lessons? Where are you now in life?
I think this year it's learning just to relax, let it be, and don't be so wrapped up in the details of things.
And I gotta say, I know you're hyper organized. You had to be to do all the career
Mm.
stuff that you've done. Um, Talk to us a little bit more. How do you think this fits in with the big picture for mankind? Because I would argue there's some extra compassion, gentleness coming in, or light, or whatever words you want to use. What do you think the big picture is for man right now?
I think it's very interesting because I do think that there are people like you, hopefully my podcast and others, that we are trying to teach about love and kindness. And so I think that's magnifying. At the same time, I think you can also see how, in some ways, we go down a negative path because people through social media, I think, have learned that it's okay to be cruel and they don't see the person, and so they can be cruel. But I think it even carries over then into when they actually interact with people. So I think we've lost some of our humanity through social media. Although there's very positive things, there's also that negative quality. So sometimes I almost see like there's a split, and I sure hope that the kindness and the love takes over, and I think it will eventually. I think that we'll kind of tire of the other aspect. What do you think?
I think that it's easy to do a lot of thinking, judging, and knowing, and it's the type of knowing that precludes possibility. So it's the currency that we've been dealing with, and it's what the scientific community does. Knowing, concrete knowing, but it only lasts a week. Somebody else discovers something, it bumps it out of the way. I think there's a different type of knowing that comes from here or connected to the universe that's more about awareness. So if I had to sum
Mm.
it up, I'd say grow your awareness, not your thinking.
Yes. And that's a very hard thing to do because we love to overthink, don't we, on everything. Yeah,
Yes, all
it's
the time, night and day. But the second you recognize the difference between this and this, thinking versus like whatever you want to call it, unconditional love, conditional love, or thinking, it's like a hot burner on a stove. You know, when you were little, you probably touched one of those orange glowing things and never did it again. As soon as you really take it in, what this is about versus how peaceful this is, you know, you might be able to do 7% less thinking a day. An angel named Charlotte said that's the Olympic gold medal for all of us. Don't try to do less thinking, more than 7% daily.
I had a great guest, Kellen Flukiger, and he had said that we should notice and choose. And I thought that was just great advice because every time you notice, you're overthinking or your negative thoughts or you're going down the wrong path, just notice what you're doing and then choose to do better. And he even said, as you go about your day, just every now and then check in and notice what you're doing and go, can I notch up and be a little better in this moment than I was? And I just thought that really was great advice.
That's it. And okay, now where are you personally for all these unconditional love beings out there? You might only say, well, angels and some Buddhist figures, or angels and some Native American chiefs, or angels and this other culture over there, or is it galactic for you? How big is the universe right now for Heather Tesh?
Oh, I always the more I do my podcast on near-death experiences, the more I go, wow, there's so much I don't know. And I think it just keeps expanding my thoughts, bigger and bigger as far as what is possible. I think there's just so much we don't know. And some of the things I hear people describe, they're things I hadn't conceived of. And so you just go, wow, it's going to be mind blowing when someday we actually leave this body and see what else is out there. We're just going to go,
Mm.
wow. So it's amazing.
What are you also seeing among your guests coming on your show? Have you
Mm.
noticed a change today or last year or in the last 6 months versus when you started the show? What are you noticing about either consciousness levels, the focus, the shift among them and how they're spending their energy?
I've had such great guests from the beginning. So I would say they've all had this amazing awareness and they're just so kind and they're so loving and they're so open to things. I just think that as I go along, I get a variety of guests. And so I hear things that I hadn't heard before. And I've said this so many times on this show. I'm like, just when I think it can't get any better, this guest comes on and you're like, wow. And then, a few weeks later, I'm like saying the same thing. So there really is even so much still to learn from people that have had, whether it's a near-death experience or a spiritually transformative experience, maybe it's through meditation. Um, there are lots of stories still to be told.
Now, you probably covered this in the February 2025 appearance on my main
Okay.
show, but what's one of your personal experiences, just one that stands out, and can you touch upon it again briefly?
When I was probably about 19 or 20, I was driving my car and I remember exactly where I was. And for a moment, I felt like I understood everything. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. And it was kind of like everything's going to be okay. And then I lost it, but I know that I knew, but I don't remember what I knew. And so I've thought of that often since then. Obviously, it's been many, many years. Um, but I think all of us probably can look back at just some experience or moment. I've had, very neat other experiences too in my life, but that's just one that stands out for sure.
Now, if you're curious, and you don't have to share the answer out loud, we can take a
Mhm.
right-hand turn all of a sudden in the show. I can put up
Mhm.
four angel photos. It'll be Joy,
Okay.
Charlotte, Min, or Gabriel. They can tell you
Okay.
who was there that day in the car helping you. If it was an angel, it was probably an angel. Who would you like to have up? I've got four angels standing by. Is it Joy, Charlotte, Gabriel, or Min? Pick one or two.
Joy.
Okay. So, Joy, hear from her. You don't have to share it out loud, though. Just say, got your answer.
Okay.
Or you can, it might not matter at all if people knew. What does
Okay.
Joy say about the car ride that day?
Got it.
Okay. And then do you want to share the name of the angel? She'll tell you the specific name.
Well, the answer is it's not an angel, it was God.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then I've got one more if I can remember. Oh, yeah. For the topic that we're going to talk next. So if you can think the 1950s, they had those hot rods. And especially when you were in high school or college,
Mhm.
you would get to a red light, everybody would get out. And I think it was called the Chinese something. You'd change positions in the vehicle.
Oh, I used to
Red
do
light.
that as a kid.
Yeah. See, now
A
I've
Chinese fire drill.
Yeah, that's it. So, which angel do you want to have randomly suggest a topic for you to cover? You already know the topic blindfolded. Which angel do you want to have now suggest the topic?
Charlotte.
Okay. So,
Okay.
from Charlotte, what are we going to talk about next?
Um, the journey to love.
Let's do
Hmm.
it. Okay.
Um,
Heather Tesch, what do we need to know about this journey to love? And this is awesome.
well, it is a journey, and I think, she picked a hard one actually.
She did.
It's
She
it's
really
funny
did.
how things pop in your head. It, it is a journey. And I think it's one of those things where have it just as a goal every day to try to be a good person. Because we are going to mess up and you're going to screw up, but every opportunity that you interact with somebody, to try to be loving and to be kind. And it even if that person, say you're with the salesperson and then they're short with you, if we can recognize it's not about them or us. I think Mother Teresa one has this great poem, but it ends something with it was never between you and them. It was always between you and God. And I think that we have to remember that every time you give love, you're putting it out there in the universe. So I'm probably rambling, but
No, that's beautiful. And she
yeah.
also said, I think if you judge people, you have no time to love them. And
Mm.
also, human to human contact or interaction allows for soul to soul connection. And that was an angel who said that. So there's not much I remember, but that was one of them. Okay, I'm going to put up Min for
Okay.
another topic. But before we do, let's do the journey to the heart and love one different way. Uh,
Okay.
what are two steps you're taking weekly, daily, monthly when you can remember to remember, if you can remember? Good luck. You're human. I'm human. What are you going to do? What are you doing to concretely take a step closer to your heart every day? Is it meditating? Is it just slowing down, reading a book, poetry? What's your secret to success on this?
So I do try to meditate and I'm better some days than others. So I'm not at the level I've been at in the past. So I would like to grow in that area. But one thing I've been doing recently is trying to get outside every morning and just sit and have coffee in the sun. And I'm kind of one of those people that my brain is busy, busy, busy. And just taking that time to relax. Sometimes my husband's there, sometimes he's not, but just not thinking about work or anything I have to do, but just relaxing.
Okay, now spot question out of the blue.
Okay.
I told you you could get back onto the main desk of the Weather Channel and be the premier figure or continue on your current path today. Would you choose to go back to what you were doing before?
No, I loved it when I was there. It was so wonderful. I loved my job. I loved the people I worked with. It was great, but I'm just in a different place now and I love what I'm doing. I get so much satisfaction talking to people like you and talking to my guests. So I am definitely where I want to be.
Okay, now I'm going to put Gabriel up in a second, but let's ask
Okay.
Angels to step in and oversee this. We're going to go a little off the reservation. No offense to any Native American chiefs. We're going to do something
Okay.
different. These guys are going to
Okay.
chaperone. I'm going to put my hand up in Texas. You're in Georgia. Feel the
Okay.
vibe and throw a few adjectives of what you're feeling out there.
So am I supposed to put my hand up?
Yeah, and treat me
Okay.
like a fireplace. What are you feeling?
Oh, okay. What am I feeling right now?
Yeah, can you feel some energy from my hand to yours?
Yes, when I focus, I can. Yeah.
Okay, what are you feeling? Throw an adjective out,
It's kind of a pressury vibration.
but not in a bad way.
No, 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 no. It's more like like there's energy.
Okay, I'm going to do one whoosh that's really angels. I'm going to blow my microphone up top, catch a little ocean if you want, or a little sea spritz here. But I want you to
Okay.
get another topic from Gabriel on this one as we do it. So let something
Um,
percolate out of this so that your brain has something to seize on. Here
okay.
comes a big whoosh. And did you feel that one?
Yes. Yeah.
And an adjective on that. And then if you don't mind letting the brain come in, what did you get for a topic? But first, what did you feel on that little whoosh?
I felt
And you can put your hand down.
okay. Just kind of a almost peace.
Oh, I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
No pressure.
And I think I got something and then I sort of was
Yeah. I always do this.
it
It
went
goes
in and
in one
out.
ear, out the other. And literally, I could be on a run, get the greatest thing ever. I have to get the iPhone out, stop, and send myself an email.
Yeah.
get it by the end of the run.
But we could go with peace because, that's what I felt. But or we could try. I feel a lot of pressure here, so I know my
Oh,
brain is getting involved in all of this.
that's okay.
Because I'm like, gotta think of a topic, gotta think of a topic.
Well, for the peace, let's try it this way. Whether it's
Okay.
love, peace, harmony, it's a
Okay.
constant. It's in you and
Hmm.
it's around you. It never left you, but we've had a lot of stuff. Each individual out there watching has had stuff,
Yes.
family, tragedy, illness,
Hmm.
job loss, this, that, thinking. It's hard to separate that and remember that it's a constant, which
Yes.
talk to us about that dynamic.
I think it's really hard sometimes, and some people get very stuck. And I think the key is to just keep having hope and keep striving for that peace of mind within you and love and to know that life is like this. And so if you're down here, it's going to come up here and you will feel that peace again, but you have to seek it and you have to keep trying. I heard somebody the other day talking about, well, people said, well, I tried this, and I didn't get anything. And so I don't believe in any of that stuff. And the person said, well, if you said you tried exercising and you're like, it didn't work, so I gave it up, and look, it didn't do anything. You have to keep trying at things, and it can be very hard sometimes. So I acknowledge that, but just keep trying because life can be good. You just got to hang on when it's not.
I love that. Okay, how are you making your personal requests? Is it pretty disciplined? You've got a legal pad and you're like, no, I need to remind myself, set my intent on this, ask for this, and more. And I've got a beautiful dove that landed on a tiny little window. First time I've ever
Oh,
seen this recording, a little dove head popped up, was looking in. So I guess that would be
nice.
symbolic of peace. But how are you making your requests to the universe, to angels, to God? Can you give us a little insight into Heather Tesch's daily, weekly, or is it just when it pops into your head you make the request?
I think I'm constantly chattering, but here's a struggle I have, and maybe you can give me your insights on this because I've heard different things. People come back from their near-death experiences, and everything is still being told through a human mind, and so it's going to be interpreted through their experiences, their lives. So I hear various things on, do we focus on something like a goal, like say somebody's in a career and they're like, okay, I want to reach this level of management or something. Um, and I'm going to focus on that and I'm going to believe in it. Or do you just allow things to be because maybe God has a better plan for you? And I think I've spent much of my life focusing on goals, and it was successful oftentimes. And but I'm also now going, is it better to not focus? Is it better to just allow? And it's actually something I've questioned for decades, but I've never quite found the answer. So what are your thoughts on
The answer is yes. And the answer is E, all the above. And I've got answers
that?
for you on this. It's
Okay.
focus on improvement, not results, was one answer that has stuck with me out of the last 14 years. Again, there's like
Oh,
15 things I can remember. Tons
yeah.
of pages stacked up of angel answers, whether I heard them or people donated their questions privately here.
Yeah.
Another one that Archangel Michael said was set intent, repeat as a mantra. And I like that one. That forces you to do a little legwork. I think it all counts. I
Hmm.
think another way to say this is it isn't about words because there's a duality involved. So I'll give you one
Hmm.
example of this. Yoda in those Star Wars movies. I can do his voice. Maybe I will.
Hmm.
I've done it on the show a little if you watch the show. Great time to hit like, share, comment, subscribe. And for commenting, I know people are shy. An emoji counts. Just put an emoji down. Or, hey, what do you love about Heather? So Yoda says all the time, no try. And Archangel Gabriel always says, always try. And they're both correct. It's not about words. Are you up here or are you down here? If you're down here, you're fully on your path. Just trust more, allow more, show love always. So with that, let's get an answer from an angel. I'm going to put Charlotte, Joy, and Gabriel up. And one of them is going to answer this for the public, and no pressure to you. You're
And
going to,
can I
yeah,
interrupt here for a minute? I really
sure.
like that. I jotted it down. You said trust more, allow more, because that does really bring both of those together,
Yeah.
that you allow yourself to do things, but you also just trust that whatever the outcome is, it's okay.
Something you said earlier is there's a lot of thinking going on, and it always starts with my problem is, my situation
Mhm.
is, you don't understand. I got 16 dogs, 16 kids. I'm on my fifth divorce in 5 weeks. I'm an unlucky guy. You don't
Hmm.
understand. So a lot
Hmm.
of this is just thinking generated. You know something that precludes possibility. If you can practice getting to your heart, whatever you want to call it, sports, exercise, diet, yoga, meditation, just knocking yourself out, a nap, hot shower. There's a million ways to get to here, but there's 40 million ways to stay stuck up here. The second you get out of your own way, you're letting the universe in, a much broader flow that you never lost a connection to. You know it through sports, backgammon, if you're the one who rolls six doubles in a row. If you know how to read a book, put your feet up and enjoy Agatha Christie for an hour, you're doing it. But the brain's there to tell you, no, it's a Julie McCoy from Love Boat, a checklist. You'll start next week. Heather's absolutely right. She's right. She's right. She's right. I'm going to follow her advice in 2 weeks. 2 years goes by. You never followed any advice. The brain is a tricky thing. So, with that, I'm going to put up Joyce, Charlotte, and Gabriel, and they're going to
Okay.
give a little reminder that's going to be funny, like big sisters, big brother talking.
Okay.
Hear a little whisper and share some wisdom insight from one or all of these angels.
Okay.
What'd you get?
Um, that it's within you. You've always had it within you. I think that's from To the Wizard of Oz, isn't it? With Dorothy. But we look so much to outside to seek, and yet it really is within us. And maybe that's part of allowing, and then also, as you said, allowing more, and then just trusting. But know that it's within you.
Yeah.
Whatever you want, it's probably already there. It's just a matter of we have to accept it. And sometimes we like to accept something that's a lot less than that because that's what we believe. And we need to learn to believe bigger because it is bigger things are within us.
Truer words of wisdom have never been spoken.
Mhm.
I think everyone's firmly on their path. Most of us don't know it. And if
Mhm.
we just calm down a little and get out of our own way, stuff could quicken up a little. The situation could resolve. Now, the second you're out of one frying pan, we check with anybody, you're often back in another frying pan. So it's just recognizing you don't have to do the frying pan thing anymore. Get out of the kitchen and do takeout instead. Okay.
But when we are in the frying pan, we don't recognize it at the moment, but often when you are finally out of it, you look back and you go, wow, I really learned a lot. I gained empathy. I really gained understanding. So, it's maybe not the monetary goals that you had, but then you realize your person goals, how to be a better person. We really learn that a lot of times in the struggle. Now, we don't, we could do the opposite. We could just get angry and upset and, just say what bad luck we had, or we can go, wow, yeah, I'm a better person because of that, even though it really sucked. It really was awful to go through.
Oh, I love this. You are on fire today. I'm going to read three random quotes. It could be
Okay.
Eckhart Tolle, it could be Einstein, it could be whoever. Famous
Okay.
speakers alive or passed over. And
Okay.
oh, this is very fitting. Uh, and just any reaction you have.
Okay.
Here's one that's spot on to what we were talking about from Native American Chief Knife, passed over, actual historical figure. He said this in 2012. Trust more, worry less. There's no such thing as silence. There's only stillness. That's deep. Here's two more for you. Some people talk to animals, not many listen, though. That's the problem. Winnie the Pooh. And a final one,
Mm.
Mother Teresa. Compassion is like a deep breath for many. Not many of us are taking a deep breath daily. We're moving too fast. We're breathing too fast, thinking too fast. I think her note was just slow down a little more and everything will open up for you. Which one of those speak to you the most?
Well, the
Trust.
first one was interesting because it was very much like what you said, trust more, allow more. The second one was interesting because I have a pet right now that was diagnosed with a fatal illness. And so I am trying, though, to understand that maybe that's the outcome, but maybe it's not. And I've got this great holistic vet that I found, and I'm treating my dog a little bit differently than the norm, which didn't give me much hope. But she really said, I said to her, how come you're so positive and all the other vets are negative? And she said, because they don't think God is part of it. And I
Yep.
thought that was really great. And so maybe that is part of it too, is I need to listen to my dog more. I talk to my dog.
So for
But
your pooch, you're not sharing this out loud. This is private to Heather Tesch
okay,
right now. I'm putting up Joy and a map. Don't call her Mackenzie. She's everything plants, animals, and nature. And Joy's very
okay,
cosmic. But a year ago, some angels started giving their cosmic background. She's got a, oh my God, I'm going to forget, a Pleiadian background, I think.
okay.
Anyhow, the point is plants, animals, and nature. Just hear a yes or no if there's hope, if it's not a set thing. Sometimes, like my cat, one of my cats exited early. It was her time to go. Nothing that could be done about it. You're not sharing
Mhm.
anything out loud, but you will say, got it. And get a huge hug from both of them.
Got it.
Good. And we'll talk after the show on that. Okay.
Okay.
With that, how are pets our instructors? How do they teach us daily if we would only pay attention?
Oh, okay. Whoops. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I didn't do it.
I'm so sorry.
We can
I
barely hear it
norm
with the
I
microphone.
more I normally silence that beforehand. I'm
And
really
that was
sorry.
perfect timing. The alarm went off on a key question. How is nature, how are trees, how are our direct pets, our loving companions, our biggest teachers in a way?
They are. And first of all, let me back up because I do want to say too, I do believe that what you put out there in the ethers can come about. So I am thinking very positive about my dog. So everybody that's listening, think very positive for her because I think there could be a very beautiful outcome.
What's her first name?
Her name is Charlie.
Charlie. So for Charlie, please put a comment down for Charlie sending
Oh,
best wishes. We're still
yeah.
a tiny show, so I mean, getting 5 comments would be incredible. Let's make it 10, and dog emojis count if you're shy, or a heart.
Yeah. Thank you. I thank you. I appreciate that. Animals are such beautiful teachers. They're also such beautiful comforts. I remember as a kid going through some hard times and I had this cat and I would just sit, it would sit with me for hours and it gave me such comfort. So when you can't always get something from humans because, they're busy, they're doing their own thing or you're private, you can always get that comfort from an animal. Um, so as far as what we learned from like my dog, she's so happy. She's so loving, she's so forgiving. And so she's such a beautiful example of what we all should be. And she lives in the moment. She is not worried about things. Well, occasionally when it gets close to dinner time, she might be like worried about where's my food coming? No. But I think animals just really are beautiful teachers. And they they also can teach us patience when you have an older pet. I've gone through that where you have a lot more work because you're giving them medicine or maybe my dog now we're giving her lots of vitamins and natural things. But it also allows you to experience love because they've given us so much love. It's an opportunity for us to show them how much they meant to us by taking care of them and taking joy in that. I always like to say too for people that animals are never disposable. So if you're getting a pet, you make sure that you plan on keeping that pet for a lifetime.
Love it. And I'm going to share a personal thing about daily meditation. I've been out of it for a while, and now I'm doing it
Okay.
again. And I always
Yeah.
play a song over and over again on repeat. So it's on my fun, gentle playlist. There's Radiohead Lotus Flower that's exactly 5 minutes. I used to use that one. I love it. But I've got a raga. I don't know how to spell it, but it's a kind of a ritualistic song from India. There's a Nirali Kirtak. I want to have her on the show one day. I got to wait a couple of years. But when I go to play this song, the pets, I have 2 dogs and a cat, they know what's in store. So the cat usually crashes by my head. Her name's Presley, named after Elvis Presley. And then Paisley's always in her cage. And then Joy, my blonde retriever with some Pyrenees in her, is always to my left. So it's like a triangle of love. They're sacked out the whole time. I call it just taking a nap. I always use a pillow. I tell people grab a stuffed animal, whatever makes you comfortable. but you can have angels come in and have a little bit of light on your eyelids, or you can just have it happen at the end. If you don't mind having joy come in and add something about whatever you want to call it, taking a time out from life, the rigmarole, the hubbub, the all the stuff going on, how to go a little more quiet. What's Joy say about taking it easy at least once a day?
Mm, I need to try harder. I mean, I need to actually set time aside. That was the message.
So use your timers for random acts. I use
Mhm.
oven timers. You set an oven timer for an hour from now. You usually get pulled into everything, and it's the corporate routine work ethic kicking
The
in.
problem with that though
Oh.
is I always think, what if I'm like in a really great meditation and then that timer goes off? So I've been always reluctant, to set a timer, but it probably is a good thing because it trains you to go, I can take 20 minutes or I can take 10 minutes.
Well, I'm up to like 4 or 5 private things here on the show. Usually I keep quiet, but she'll pop in seconds before the timer's going to go off and do pink light in a circle on
Oh,
my shut eyelids. So like movie drive-in theaters, she'll come in
yeah,
with pink light and then I'll kind of come out of it, but you can stay at that level for a while if you want. But then she'll front run the morning alarm. She'll front run the meditation alarm when I set.
nice.
I don't always set those, but here's something like, "Yep, duh," what he said for you. And she's very funny. If people at home want to put their hand out and treat her like a campfire, you can do this, Heather, so people don't get shy. You can feel Joy's vibe through 2 screens and let us know what you're feeling. You can use all of you to feel
Okay.
Joy's vibe. Are you feeling an angelic vibe?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. 2 or 3 final areas here. Let's go back
Okay.
to animals, kindness,
By the
compassion.
way, can I say what she said because it was
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
funny?
please, please.
Sorry, hold on. I got a runny nose. She said, jokingly, she said, "Don't listen to him, you do you." I thought that was kind of
Exactly.
fun.
I love that. That's the whole point. Everyone has
Yeah.
to carve their own path or cut their own way. And I would argue that you're already firmly on, if it's stepping stones, you look down, you're on a stepping stone, and you don't even have to take the step. You can let the universe be like a conveyor belt passing
Yeah.
underneath you if you really learn
Hmm.
to let go. With that, talk to us about, I'm going to read like 15, not cliche, but big words you see thrown around all the time now.
Okay.
Acceptance, acknowledgement, attention, allowing, attitude, awareness, abundance, angels, a lot of A's here. Positivity, love, kindness, compassion, appreciation, gratitude, 1 or 2 more. Opening openness, a very Tibetan Buddhist expression, opening openness here, and allowing for all. Which 1 or 2 of those phrases are jumping out big time for you?
Of the words you just said, well, what jumps out to me, it's always the same. It's kindness and gratitude.
I wish I'd said
And
gratitude before you said it, but I didn't, so I can't show that I'm psychic. Okay.
and
Tell us a little bit more about gratitude and a practice of gratitude that you love to do. As stuff pops up, are you giving thanks?
I think I try to be somewhat aware of this now more than maybe in the past of just, seeing the things around me that I'm grateful for my family. Um, I will look out in my yard and just always say, I'm so grateful, for just my yard, because I love being outside in my yard. Um, my home, my friends. I always express gratitude for my friends. I just think it's easy to live life and life gets busy and you kind of forget how good we have it. Who said, and you probably know this, something like um, the things that we take for granted, other people dream of. And we all have things, that are beautiful in our life that other people wish they had. So I think when you express gratitude too, you're open to more beauty coming into you. And not that that's ever the goal, um, but I just think truly being thankful, like, wow, I've been given this wonderful life, even with the hard times, even expressing gratitude. I heard once that, true forgiveness and same with like a hard situation in your life. when you really know you've gone past it, you can be grateful for it. And I think that was often a very hard thing to do, but I came to the realization you can say, I'm grateful for what I learned, which is a little bit easier than saying I'm grateful for that hard time I went through.
I love everything you're saying. And I'm going to put you on the spot. This is an easy one, though, so don't
Okay.
sweat it. You're an incredible, inner, fearless, peaceful warrior, firmly on your path, firmly helping others. I'm going to put up an angel named Heather. She makes hearts in her photographs. Even the name Heather is the word heart rearranged, the letters with extra letters. What do you know? No coincidences here. I think you met her before. Here's her in one shot. She's over my Japanese torii in my first Austin home. But here's a better Heather shot. And she's, again, all about compassion.
Wow.
And here's another heart and another
Nice.
heart. And this is
Wow.
this angel, by the way, since I saw it in more ball form, but double, two balls overlapping. I always joke that's when the wings are out with Heather. I'd love for you to get a compliment that you're going to share out loud. So you're busted. Spotlight on you.
Oh,
You got to take a compliment. I'm going to put up Joy as well so you have an easy time. And Min,
okay.
a group compliment or an individual compliment, one of them is going to shout it louder than the rest. And you got to say it out loud on this one. You're busted, but you deserve a compliment
Okay.
for being the brave, inner, fearless, peaceful warrior. If you want to do Dan Millman's book here,
Okay.
um, Min, Joy, and Heather are throwing compliments your way. Say got it out loud and pick one to share out loud. And please get a lot of
Got it.
okay.
Got it.
What's your compliment? And you were forced to do it as a guest on a show. It's not your fault.
Yeah. It is hard to say things out loud when you a compliment like that, but it was um, that I do have compassion and empathy for others, and I do really care about people. And hopefully that comes across. I think it does.
You do compassion well and you're super gentle about it. And it's awesome. I'm going to read one final quote, get your reaction from it. And what's the one takeaway everyone should take to heart daily? If you could leave a famous Heather Teschism with us all. Here's
Okay.
the quote. I love to read this on the show. I think it's
Okay.
the gentlest thing in the world is from angels. I think Dale put it in the epilogue of my little listening to angels book. I saw balls of light as I typed. If anybody thought I wrote it, thank you. Um, Sometimes the person next to you or a stranger just needs validation via love and compassion. A smile changes any moment. So too does laughter or a few kind words. Be compassionate to all. Do it. What's your reaction?
I love that. That is so, so true. And you do not know what other people are going through. That's why when somebody cuts you off in traffic, you don't know what's going on in their life. I mean, have you ever been, I'm talking to the audience because I have been distracted because uh, you're worried about something and then suddenly you realize that you accidentally cut somebody off when you're trying to go in their lane. So we all make mistakes and try to have grace for people. I also find it too, like there's so many places. We all have different places in our life where we can show compassion. One place that I try to do it is in the people that make comments after watching my show, because so many people need shows like yours and they need to hear from my guests because they're hurting over something that happened in their life. They've maybe lost somebody. They want to know that there's more to life than what the pain they're going through, the struggle. So I think we all have areas in our life to show compassion. Maybe for somebody, it's at work. Uh, if you see people that are having a hard day, and even if they're not having a hard day, maybe they really are.
Hmm.
And so just to show it wherever you can.
Well, Heather, you're still going to get one more item that you get to share with us. You're going to pick a mantra. I'm going to delay for you on this. You're going to get a full minute, minute and a half max. You're going to
Okay.
give us a mantra as if you were a guru out of India, Asia, or wherever, and you're going to repeat it 3 times so people can get the Heather Tesh vibe. It could be just your favorite Winnie the Pooh quote. It could be this. It could be that. It
Okay.
could be John Lennon. But I'm going to show my light with this as the background to buy time. You're just going to
So is this a quote from me or a quote from somebody
it's
else?
your favorite mantra. It could be the littlest thing in the world, like love is the best. It could be love, 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 love,
Okay.
love. It could be something more complex. What's a mantra, though, that people should take to heart? Remember, gurus in India would hand the mantra over. You repeat it a lot. You're kind of one with the universe. You feel expanded.
Okay.
You're letting go. Mantra is a mantra. It's just going to be Heather Tesch's favorite reminder for us all to be here. Less is more on this, and 3 times you got to say it out loud. So I've been getting guests to do this, and each person watching can get their vibe at the very end of the show. But we're going to do something interactive. You just have to be in your heart, see with your heart, see with all of you. You're going to see a little extra light flowing between my fingers. They did this in the movie Celestine Prophecy. I'm buying you a lot of time on the mantra. So
I think I've
Celestine
got it.
Prophecy, you had the Band of Brothers actor with the NCIS or JAG actress, and she's showing him how to see light between his fingers. But as a guest from Arizona, Sue Frederick, said, nah, we were doing this in the 70s before the movie existed. You could see light between your fingers. And in India, some of the places in India, you can see it this way. I'm going to stand, I'm going to tell a dad joke. So this is a good excuse to do my rainbow joke. You've already heard this. Where do rainbows go when they're bad? Answer prism, but it's a light sentence. Heather, are you ready? You're going to see with your heart, see with all of you. Let go, let angels do all the heavy lifting. See a little filament of light between my fingers. Is it a wisp?
Hmm.
Is it a color? What do you see?
It's a wisp.
And is it
It's
white, clear, gold, yellow?
it's whitish, but you
Uh,
can see through it.
And
Yeah.
that's all the colors combined. White is big, rainbow light's the only thing bigger. And I gave a dad joke. Okay, what's your mantra to wind this up? And you got to say it 3 times for us.
Okay. Well, I was thinking of a personal mantra, but the one that actually kept coming to my head is something by Wayne Dyer, and I don't know if I'll get it exactly correct, but he said, if you knew who walked beside you, and I'm going to get this wrong, but if you knew who walked beside you on this journey we called life, you would never be afraid again. So by Wayne Dyer, and I'm getting the quote wrong, but basically it's if you knew who walked beside you on this path you are taking, you would never be afraid again. If you knew who walked beside you on this path that you were taking, you would never be afraid again. Wayne
And get a
Dyer.
hug from Wayne and hear private words from him to you.
Oh, I love Wayne.
Yep. And you can even put a hand out, feel your vibe off camera, on camera, it doesn't matter. Feel his vibe through your hands so you know it's safe. Breathe, have joy be your chaperone,
Mm.
and hear private, like, good job, kiddo, and get a big hug. And all set.
Okay.
Heather Tesch, you're amazing. I love having you on, and you're going to be a permanent invite ever whenever
Oh,
you want to grace us with your
thank
presence.
you.
Thank you.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. I am so grateful that you thought of me and asked me on your show. You are doing beautiful things and you're just spreading so much positivity and love and light out there. And that's the kind of thing that's going to tip the world in the right direction.
Thank you again, Heather. And we'll see you soon on the different shows. Take care.
Bye-bye.